My exclusion from these ever more frequent YouTuber hit pieces is a meme now. Every time one of these things comes out, I get excited and I think, ooh, new hit piece. I'm definitely in it this time. After all, I've earned it. What? All my friends are Nazis, but not me?
No one knows what it's like.
It's like logging into Facebook and seeing all your friends went out and had a blast last night, but they didn't invite you. Mostly I'm just jealous I didn't get my name in a PewDiePie video.
So if you're watching Jordan Peterson, next you're watching Dave Rubin, and then you're going over to Roaming Millennial, and then bam, you're into the Nazis.
This is bullshit, man. I want my name right there in the ranks of the Reich where it belongs. I want my hit piece, and I want it framed right back there on my shelf. But I guess today, like all the others, is not the day for me. It is a day for the sphere in which I operate, though. Almost everybody I watch regularly, people with whom I interact or even collaborate regularly, people who are genuinely friends of mine, all lumped in as enemies of the progressive orthodoxy in this analysis from something called Becca Lewis at Data and Society, titled Alternative Influence, Broadcasting the Reactionary Right on YouTube. I'm not going to spend much time debunking the argument presented here. There's hardly any semblance of reasoning to debunk anyhow. It's the same old tired flailing from an anti-intellectual progressive screeching, boo-hoo, I can't win with my ideas, so I'll just smear everyone I disagree with as an extremist in the hope of shutting them up. And it's not just those the author disagrees with, but anyone they've talked to as well. At the heart of the analysis is this silly and borderline creepy association chart. It's just a detailed game of 6 degrees of literally Hitler. If you've ever talked to somebody who once talked to a Nazi, you're a Nazi enabler. It really is that stupid. At one point, it highlights a line showing Orthodox Jew Ben Shapiro is only 1 degree removed from alleged Nazi Richard Spencer, as though those two guys have anything in common but for the fact that they're willing to talk to people of different perspectives. It's as moronic as it is self-defeating. If we follow the author's reasoning, we can include her right here in her own graphic, because she apparently spends hours watching Andy Warski streams, creating a direct line between her and one of the largest influencers in her dumb map. Yeah, but I'm being critical, she might say. Yeah, so are a lot of the people you include and implicate. Destiny disagrees with pretty much everyone else here. He debates people. That's the reason for these associations. Joe Rogan, Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, Chris Reagan, Bunty King, these are not people blasting far-right ideas. These are people who are simply open to ideas and who believe in allowing you to decide for yourself. And for a report allegedly focused on racism and misogyny and bigotry more generally, why is your map of targets filled with racial minorities and gay people and transgender people and women? In any other context, this group would be a real diversity rainbow you would want celebrated. But since they don't get in line with your totalitarian worldview, they gotta be smeared. Because your precious minorities are only precious when they obey their masters. I'm less concerned with responding to every tired, illogical character smear in a hit piece like this, and more concerned with understanding its purpose. I don't think it's always a good use of our time as YouTubers and your time as the audience to be defending against and responding to every ridiculous accusation and smear, especially when they're so obviously desperate and untrue. We could be discussing other things more relevant to your life, other things for which you probably clicked the subscribe button in the first place. The reason I do find this one especially important and worthy of response, however, is because it is written and published with the purpose of interfering in that arrangement, interfering with my ability to make these videos and your ability to watch and enjoy them. I said after the InfoWars deplatforming last month that this wasn't some unique strategy or effort against InfoWars. InfoWars is just the first target. The people behind that banning effort aren't just going to wipe their hands and say, well, we got him, time to move on and do something more productive with our lives. Of course not. They will proceed down their list, and each and every target they go after will be less and less extreme, though the label extremist will still apply. Indeed, the author of this study herself applauded the InfoWars deplatforming, saying deplatforming works. And she used the clapping hand, so don't even bother trying to respond. That's final. She praises deplatforming as an effective strategy to minimize or eliminate voices she and her virtuous friends deem outside the scope of acceptable thought for you to consume. Meanwhile, in her Mother Jones interview about her hit piece study, she claims YouTubers are falsely complaining about deplatforming, asking if it's happening, how is it that they're able to keep producing content? So which is it, Becca? Is it that deplatforming isn't a thing, or is it actually a highly effective thing, according to your own data analysis, that you've made your career your life's cause to pursue? And to the point that her list of acceptable viewpoints or even acceptable associations is incredibly narrow, when everyone was recently enjoying the sight of Elon Musk smoking weed on Joe Rogan's show, Becca Lewis was complaining that the real focus, the real scrutiny, should be on how Joe Rogan gives a mainstream platform to Jordan Peterson, anti-feminist Sargon, Google bro James Damore, Gavin McInnes, and other wrong thinkers. And I'm sure we could get more insight into just how many voices she thinks should be forcibly disappeared, but she conveniently deleted all her past tweets shortly before publishing her study. So scrutinize everybody else, but please don't scrutinize Becca Lewis using her same tactics. Social justice is often a one-way street. And what are the specific things she wants from YouTube to correct this problem she invented? Well, first and foremost, she says with hilarious entitlement that YouTube must respond to her piece with new policies that account for influence and amplifications of opinions she doesn't like. And not just those opinions, but people who associate with them in any capacity. She writes, YouTube should not only assess what channels say in their content, but also who they host and what their guests say. And she articulates no objective standard for what opinions ought to be punished. But that's not really the point, is it? The standard is opinions Becca likes versus opinions Becca doesn't. She also takes issue that the super chat feature, which of course allows live chatters to pay directly to support creators they like and have their comments featured, she says that somehow incentivizes shocking content, and so implicitly that ought to be more tightly controlled as well. It doesn't incentivize any particular type of content. It is a purely free market mechanism. If you like that content, support it. If you don't, But I guess in a progressive future, if you want to use your credit card, you're going to have to check with mom first, at least until you can demonstrate that you're responsible with it. It baffles me that this concept is so difficult to understand. It is YouTube, not BeccaTube. You decide what content to create, and you decide what content to watch and support, or not. Becca can watch and support what she likes, and if she doesn't like what you like, then the proper protocol is for Becca to fuck off and focus on things she enjoys, not police your enjoyment. But she's not going to do that. She's going to apply pressure until she gets her way, and we need to be wary of that, because there's no shortage of media allies who will parrot her partisan censorious attacks uncritically. This is just a sample of the publications who did so this week, not only treating her analysis as objective, but making no effort to get a response from those she attacks. Ezra Klein from Vox promoted the study, despite the fact that he himself appeared on Sam Harris's podcast this summer, and Harris is implicated in the study. Ezra, by the same association theory presented in the piece, you fit neatly right into that Nazi web you're warning about. I know I'm mostly preaching to the choir with my audience, but we have some serious cultural work to do to combat this festering censorship effort that objectively hates freedom and wants to see us all shut our mouths and get in line. Don't fall into the trap of analyzing whether you agree with the people highlighted in this study or not. Understand that an attack on any of them is an attack on all of us who enjoy free thinking and challenging conventional wisdom. It's an attack on those of us who actually enjoy hearing opinions with which we passionately disagree, and enjoy the challenge of trying to defeat those ideas, and yes, even enjoy changing our minds when we realize that maybe we aren't right after all. It is an attack on those of us who believe that what you think and what you say and with whom you associate are none of my goddamn business. And if I don't like it, the burden is on me to move along rather than try to control you. Those are the cultural values at stake, and those are the cultural values we must protect. If we don't, maybe tomorrow my video gets replaced with this one. In today's correct viewpoint, minorities are always right. Coming up tomorrow, the wage gap is real. On Friday, the ethical gulag. Ugh, makes me want to super chat my entire life savings to a Nazi right now. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel always. Appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.